why it is so important to infuse your personal stories in your marketing. Hey, it's Heather Chauvin, wife, mother of 3 boys, former social worker, dreamer, recovering rescuer, stage 4 cancer survivor. I started my motherhood journey when I was 18. I was single and living off government assistance. Beyond all of these titles and labels, I'm a human being, just like you, attempting to navigate it all while feeling good. My goal on this podcast is to show you that you can live an energized, sustainable life both at home and in your work. On this show, I attempt to keep it real with stories, interviews, and random thoughts. This is not a business or career podcast, and it's not a parenting podcast. It's both and so much more. You will laugh, you will cry, and maybe even get a little frustrated with the truth you've been hiding from yourself. I believe all human behavior is a language, whether it's through your child's behavior, your health, or a relationship. And when we learn to listen instead of react, we begin to understand what it truly means to feel alive and in control. If you haven't already, go grab a copy of my book, Dying to Be a Good Mother. You can purchase it wherever books are sold online. And if you're interested in how to integrate this work into your life and get quicker results, you can learn more about my mastery and mastery business coaching experiences at heatherchauvin.com/work with me. Heather Chauvin, CHAUVIN.com/work with me. And you have a personal question or a topic you'd like me to answer on this podcast, then text me 313-710-5199. 313-710-5199. All right, let's change your life. Let's dig in. Hey, ladies. I'm back, and today is all about storytelling. And I know you may love me because I tell my stories, and I'm real, and I'm raw, and I'm vulnerable. I get it. But I need to tell you something. Part of the reason why you may feel connected to me as well is because you know my story. Stories create connection. And it could be a story about, I don't know, Fruit Loops, or you waiting at the bus with your kids this morning, or how you were cooking dinner and you were excited because you started this new recipe and then you put it on the table and nobody wanted to eat it. True story from a friend. No, from my real life. My point is, stories create moments. And these moments in our lives are what create our life. It's what creates who we become. It's how we do business. It's how we do life. It's how we live in our relationships. And every time I meet somebody and I'm like, they have a story, I want to know their story. And you know when you meet people and you don't really know their story or you don't know much about them and you're like, I wonder why they do what they do, or I wonder, like, how did she become like that, or how did they become like that? And then you start to learn about them, like their background. Like, I'm always curious about people, like, why are they so ambitious? Or how come that person's not like highly motivated? And then I learn about their childhood and I learn about, you know, things that have happened to them. And you're like, oh, now I get it. And typically, when you start to know these things about people, you gain empathy, right? Empathy and connection. But here's another twist. Connection is what creates consumers. And consumers are what drive your business. And when you're doing it authentically, when you are impact driven, which is the most of the women that I attract and work with, especially in our mastery business program, you want to make an impact. You want to create change, right? So you're telling a different conversation, or you want to do your work unconventionally. You might be in a traditional model, but you want to do it unconventionally. And sometimes you cannot create stories. I know when I was a social worker and I shifted my business online, I was unable to actually tell a lot of personal information and testimonials because of confidentiality. So I actually dropped my social work licensing so that I could do it my way on my terms, which is why I had to call myself a coach. But it's not about your title, it's about your story. And if you're not using your own personal story, then you can tell client stories, but it creates connection. So also, have you ever here's the thing, annoyance. Have you ever went to somebody and said, do you have a therapist that you could recommend? Or do you have, this that you could recommend? And what do? You probably go look them up. I know, well, for me, I go on Instagram and I try to get a vibe of the person. I know not everyone's Instagram is perfect. I'm not in love with my Instagram profile. I try not to live on Instagram, so I'm not hanging there all day, every day, and I don't have a beautiful feed. But my point of why I'm saying that is because you want to be able to connect to them. I want to be able to connect with people before I hire them. I want to know their story. I want to know if they're legit. I want to know if they can help me, right? So I'm going to search on them a little bit. I want to know their stories. I want to know their background. Do they have similar experiences to me? Are they relatable? Is it somebody that is completely not in alignment with me just because my friend liked them? And so this is why it's so, so important for you to infuse stories. Stories create connection, and connection creates customers. Connection creates customers. So I'm going to ask you this, honestly. Are you hiding? And if the answer is yes, this could be part of the reason why your revenue is not growing. Are you hiding? And if the answer is yes, this could be part of the reason why your revenue is not growing. And if you're like, well, I don't know if that's why, then I highly, highly suggest let's have a conversation. You get to text me 313-710-5199, or you can see if my coaching program, Mastery Business, is a good fit for you. We focus on being seen, being heard. We dig deep into sales. And you can check that out at heatherchauvin.com/work with me. And right now, we have some fast action bonuses going on from now until the end of the year. So now's a really, really good time to engage in those conversations. So the reason why I say this is because sometimes when I talk to women, they think they're doing all the things in their business. They're like, I'm doing all the things. I'm talking to these people and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, but from the outside, it doesn't look like you're doing much. And what I mean by that is from the outside, there's no marketing. There's no storytelling. And so you don't always have to be pitching a product or service. You need to be telling stories. Tell a quick story from today. Make it a metaphor. Tell a client story on social. Tell a story about your big why. Why do you do what you do? So I'm going to give you some examples of colleagues and friends of mine who have infused stories into their marketing. Not only that, but part of the reason why I started buying from these people. So I'm going to give you a cafe. I have a friend who owns a cafe. And the reason why she started the cafe was because she had colitis like 10 years ago. And 10 years ago when she had colitis, there was nobody in the city who was making food that was plant-based or like in alignment with her lifestyle. So what she started doing was cooking for herself. She's European. She loves to cook. She has a cooking background. And she started making food at home. She started posting it on social. And people started saying, can you cook for me? Can you cook for me? And so she actually started having people come to her house, order things, and she was making food for people out of her house. And then they started a cafe. And when you go online on their profile and they tell their stories, she always tells me every time I tell a story, our profits increase almost 20% the next day because they're re-engaging in their big why. And when they're re-engaging in their big why, it's not about the food anymore. It's about the meaning and the connection behind the food. And another interesting thing is I know of some cafes that are not local. And the only reason why I know of them is because I found them online through storytelling. Somebody shared their post because they connected to the story. And then I found out about that cafe. And then guess what? When I go and visit that area, what happens? I am connected because of the story. On a bigger scale, this is a big scale now. Storytelling, it happens through video as well. So I don't know if you're familiar. This might be only an Ontario thing. I live in Windsor, Ontario. I'm in Canada. And on Netflix, there's this series called, I think it's called Motel Makeover. And I live in a place where it's like a very small town. I live probably about 5 hours from Toronto, but it's a very small town. So when things happen around here, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so exciting. So there is two girls that are from Toronto, and they have they bought a motel and they redid it. It was called the June Hotel, the June Motel, something like that, the June Motel. And it was this hotel that they bought. They gutted it, renovated it. Didn't even gut it, actually. They just like lipstick on a pig. Like it looks very old and retro, and they painted it, made it modern vibes, like girls' weekend, whatever. And I saw the motel, to be honest with you. And I was like, okay, that's not really my style, but I get the vibe. I get what they're doing. And they were generating excitement around it, right? But here's the ultimate. They got a gig with Netflix on how to do their motel renovation, their motel makeover for their second location. And I watched the whole series because I just love renovation shows and things like that. But really what they were doing was marketing to me this motel, their motel, but through storytelling. Like the whole thing was through storytelling. So now that I know about this motel, I'm going to probably eventually go to it. But here's the thing. I know their story. I know how they started. I know why they started. I know the challenges they experienced trying to open their second location during COVID. And it creates connection. So here's my point. When we are marketing our businesses, so many people are focused on their product or service, when in reality, people are craving connection. And storytelling is about connection. We have a local magazine, and the magazine used to sell ads, and it would say like, of course, typical people that are in magazines are there's doctors, there's therapists, there's dentists, there's real estate agents, insurance agents, all of that, small businesses. And what do you typically see? You see the face of the person, and then it says, call me, and a phone number. And you're like, why the fuck am I supposed to call you? And somebody else bought the magazine, and they reinvented the magazine. And now they tell stories. They give a page of each person, or they still have their ads here or there, but they're telling these people's stories. And I remember reading a story of a local gentleman, and he owns a window company, but he was telling the story about how the company started and, his family business and, challenging times or whatever the hell he was talking about in the short story. And I remember we were doing a renovation on the house. Guess who I thought of first for windows? This company. And I've thought of this company because the story stuck with me and I connected to the story and it made it remarkable. So it doesn't matter what you are selling. You need to infuse yourself in your business. Why do you do hair? Why do you do makeup? What do you love about your job as a professional? And maybe you're like, Heather, I don't love my job. But was there a point when you did love your job and your business? Because if you don't love your business, that's going to impact your bottom line. You need to reconnect to your passion. You need to reconnect to your why, and you need to tell those stories. The more we tell, the more we can give. And the more we give, the bigger impact we make. And the bigger impact we make, that is how we are going to change the world. So if you're finding yourself stuck on where to get started with storytelling, start in your journal. Why? What's your why? Why did you start your business? What happened today or yesterday that was in alignment with what you teach, that was in alignment with what you do? What's the story behind your company? What got you up this morning? What excites you about your business? Tell a story, create a moment, and share it. And when you do, send it to me. Take a screenshot, send me the link, engage. I want to hear from you. 313-710-5199. Your story is worth telling. And it's your uniqueness that makes the impact in the world. All right, ladies, I am super excited to hear from you. And again, remember, now until the end of the year, we have magical shit happening in our Mastery and Mastery Business coaching communities. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, if you're like, dang, wouldn't it be fun to get coached by Heather? I'm telling you right now, check it out. Head on over to heatherchauvin.com/work with me. Once you enter your name and your email, I'm going to send you a video of our community, how it works, what it looks like, the investment, all of that fun stuff. So head on over to heatherchauvin.com/work with me. You have one life. You have one life. And you have such a huge impact on this world. Reconnect with your passion, feel alive, make it sustainable. You are worthy of feeling good. I look forward to connecting soon.
My name is Kieran. I am the primary parent to my 8-year-old daughter. I can be found on Instagram at sunrays.and.strength. That's sunrays.and.strength. I joined Heather about 3 months ago. I joined her because I wasn't happy with where my life was going. I had gone through a divorce. I was building myself up, but I just didn't feel as connected with who I truly was, who I was as a parent, how I was contributing to my community. I just knew that I wanted more. And after meeting Heather and joining her program, 3 months later, I've been able to feel more connected with my daughter. I feel like we were able to communicate better. I can understand her emotions and understand why she's feeling a certain way and why she's not. And she's also able to understand me more because I'm able to communicate better with her. I've also been able to get really clear on what I want to do with my career. I've been able to hone in on the fact that I want to be able to help women who have gone through a divorce or who are going through a divorce because I understand how difficult the process is. And it's helped me build up my confidence to be able to share my story and to share my experience and what I've been able to do to overcome all the hardships that come along with divorce. And I really love the way that Heather has set up her program because it's allowing you to change your perspective on life itself. It's allowing you to change your perspective on how you parent and how you view your children, and also how you view your future and what you want. And that's been completely life-changing to me. It's allowed me to go out of that rescuer mode and actually go into coaching. I coach my daughter more instead of trying to help her and fix her all the time, which has been such a drastic shift for me. So I wanted to say thank you, Heather, for helping me see my potential and being able to help me build into the woman I know I was always able to be, and to help me feel much more confident in who I
am. Well, that's it. And I wanted to thank you for listening today, because I truly believe you are exactly where you need to be. And now I have a favor to ask. In exchange for the value you've gained from this free podcast, I'd be forever grateful if you would leave us a review on iTunes. Share the show with at least one woman in your life who you feel would benefit, and or take a screenshot and share it on social media. And always feel free to tag me at Heather Chauvin. The world does not benefit from your guilt and fatigue. The world needs more women who are willing to unlearn everything they've been taught. Women who are courageous enough to feel good and not let guilt run the show. I believe you are that courageous woman. To see if my community and coaching is the right fit for you and your big vision, the relationships you desire, the money, time, energy that you know deep down you are capable of creating, then head on over to heatherchauvin.com/work with me. That's Heather Chauvin, CHAUVIN.com/work with me, and take the next step in the right direction. Taking a stand for how you feel means you are taking a stand for how your children show up as adults. And if you have a personal question or topic you'd like me to answer on the podcast, text me 313-710-5199. 313-710-5199. You are so worthy of feeling good. Now go do some scary shit.